Today, we're talking about the obsession with staying young and where it really began. We go way back to the Tudors and how Queen Elizabeth used anti-aging as a tool for power. And later, we break down what people get wrong before they head for divorce. I'm Sandra Silverman, and this is Party's Over.
Externally, I wanted to look a certain way, but internally, I wasn't happy. I've had so many procedures, so many treatments, more than I can count. I started to really focus on doing things for my body that made me feel good. I decided to write my book to share this knowledge, and people have really resonated with it. And that night at 5 in the morning, there's a girl at the front door. I was able to figure out what a narcissist was because I was married to a narcissist.
There's some stuff in there I'm very surprised that you're talking about.
I can spot the red flags now from a mile away. I want the viewers of my show to walk away feeling great about themselves and feeling empowered. I'm going to incorporate my story as well in the show, but I also am very interested in learning about other people's stories.
I love your honesty and your genuineness. That's what makes you so authentic and real and why people want to talk to you.
Watch Party's Over. It's going to be fun, informative. We're going to have a great time. Party's over.
Today, we have Phoebe Devere, and she is a filmmaker and researcher. I'm super excited for this episode. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So grateful to be here.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I'm obsessed with the Elizabethan Renaissance, and I am working with my collaborator, Linz Gray, on a documentary film right now about the idea that Shakespeare might not have been who we learned about in schools, and that maybe Queen Elizabeth was involved in kind of like an interesting cover-up of who the real Shakespeare was.
Oh, wow.
Fascinating.
Isn't that fascinating?
Can you tell us more? Like, talk about a mic drop.
Absolutely. Yeah. So basically, what in Queen Elizabeth's court, Shakespeare's plays were almost like Saturday Night Live in Queen Elizabeth's court, where they were sort of making fun of and parodying individuals who were in government. And so there's been, for like hundreds of years, a lot of people like from Mark Twain and Henry James and Friedrich Nietzsche, Vladimir Nabokov, have all kind of theorized that even though the story that we learn in school about who Shakespeare is that it's somebody who's kind of a commoner, lives in the country, has no connection to court, people think that that's sort of a misdirect on purpose because there was somebody who was very cheeky, who was sort of spilling all the tea on what was going on, and even teasing Queen Elizabeth, making fun of the men who were kind of diplomats and kings from other countries who were trying to marry her. So for a long time, there's been a lot of curiosity about, like, was the person writing these plays actually kind of secretly making fun of these Elizabethan aristocrats, and they didn't want to get caught, so they used a fake name.
That's so interesting.
So it's been a minute since I've read some Shakespeare. Probably 25 years, if we're going to be honest. Refresh my memory. Are there any overarching Shakespearean themes throughout all of Shakespeare's plays, or is it like each individual one has its own dynamic?
That's a great question. So, what people don't actually, I think a lot of people don't realize is that when we have Shakespeare's plays, there's kind of like 36 of them, but we only learn maybe like 4 or 5 in school. Like those are the kind of hits.
Can you name one, Sandy?
Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, other than Romeo and Juliet. Name one. Try to name 5.
Othello.
Okay.
Is that one?
Yeah.
Let's see. Romeo and Juliet, Othello.
Wait,
What's the one about that he loved his mom? Ophelia. Yes, that's 3.
You're way better than I am. I'm like really behind right now. You lost me at Romeo and Juliet, but I swear I'm educated. Let me think.
I can name 3. Any other ones?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, aren't there? There's 30. We just
36.
36.
Yeah. Well, so you guys got some good names out there. So the ones that are the kind of most popular plays, those are the ones that have the most universal themes, whereas a lot of the deeper cuts that are almost never produced, never performed, those are the ones that are the most specific. Like trying to watch an SNL skit from the 1970s, if you don't know what the political topic is or who the celebrity is that's being made fun of, it kind of goes over your head. And so part of why I'm so passionate about the Shakespeare authorship question is plays like Romeo and Juliet or Othello, which have these kind of eternal themes of like love and jealousy. Everyone kind of gets that off the bat, but there are these also amazing masterpieces that people don't get to read or appreciate because they don't have the historical context, which would be kind of properly provided if you knew who really wrote the plays and what they were really talking about. And I think it'd be more fun in school to learn about.
Absolutely.
Was Shakespeare married?
Shakespeare was married, yeah.
With children or without
Many
children?
mistresses.
Okay, so not happily married.
Not happily married.
Well, they probably,
I think,
yeah, they probably all did.
no, and I think a lot of the kind of turmoil that is in relationships in Shakespeare's plays are him very directly working out his own marital issues. I'll give you an example. So Hamlet, which
Hamlet.
That's the big one.
said the thing about the mom and stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
so close. But basically, so Hamlet for many years, mainstream scholarship has said that this character of Polonius, who's Ophelia's dad, he seems to be a direct parody of this guy, William Cecil, who was sort of like the Dick Cheney of Queen Elizabeth's administration. And so it seems to be making fun of this guy in particular. This guy in particular happens to have been the father-in-law of who I believe and others believe was Shakespeare, this guy, Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford. And so in Hamlet, Hamlet ends up stabbing Polonius through a curtain and killing him. And so it kind of gives you a sense of maybe this is how this guy felt about his father-in-law.
Wow.
Yeah. And also another
These are themes that kind of go into today.
Yeah, so she did
It's timeless.
she did the documentary.
Yeah. Yes. And another
that's
thing
being
I'll say
pursued.
about the relationship, the kind of unhappy marital dimension of Hamlet is that, so, you know, Ophelia and Hamlet, they're kind of being spied on Polonius so much. You know, he's so interfering. They have no privacy. He's kind of like literally hiding in the curtains and like watching them. And in real life, Edward de Vere's father-in-law, we literally have love letters that the couple were writing to one another, and the father-in-law in his files, in his archives, he's copied them out in his own hand. And so we get this really claustrophobic feeling of this very kind of breathing down your neck kind of emotion, which I find like it just brings it so much more to life to me. Like I love knowing kind of like the real life component of who the real Hamlet was, who the real Ophelia was.
So we wanted to talk about Queen Elizabeth and how she was kind of like the pioneer of anti-aging. So can you talk about Elizabeth and during that period?
Absolutely. So Queen Elizabeth, she has a really hard life. You know, she's very alone at the top. And she, at age
Lonely at the
29,
top.
she almost dies of smallpox and is left okay, but she has scars on her face that make her incredibly self-conscious for the rest of her life. And she's the most like visible, looked at, famous woman in the world. And so, you know, it's kind of awful. Every room she goes into, everyone's staring at her. And so she does this kind of fascinating, innovative thing, which is that there's Venetian courtesans have this makeup that they use that's called Venetian ceruse, which is made of white lead and vinegar, and they're putting it on their faces. And it's not trendy in England. It's courtesans in Venice, and that's sort of, Venice is almost like the New York City of the kind of the Renaissance. They're much faster, you know. England's more conservative, and so she adopts this and puts it on her face. And I think it kind of serves as sort of like a shield for her, like a mask where she gets to feel like she gets a little more privacy even as she's walking around, and it evens out the imperfections that she has from the scarring, which it's actually a really sad story. So her best friend kind of stays up all night with her when she's sick with smallpox, and the best friend ends up horribly disfigured, much worse than Elizabeth gets from smallpox. And I think Elizabeth is so ashamed and embarrassed about what happens that she kind of ices her friend out after this incident. Like she stops receiving her friend at court. She kind of disses her and shuts her out. So you can just see this very lonely, self-conscious person for whom, you know, beauty and having clear skin meant everything.
What other things were happening in her life? Because you said in the beginning of the show that there's a lot of drama as well with her dating life and
that is an understatement for Queen Elizabeth. So, you know, we have this, it's interesting. We think of her as the virgin queen, but that was totally propaganda, because if anything, it was the opposite. She didn't want to get married because, again, she knew that if she had a husband, he would become the king, and then she'd be like second fiddle, and she didn't want that. And so so part of what they were trying to do to spin it to the public, who was like, why isn't this lady getting married, is they're like, oh, she's our virgin queen. And they kind of created almost like a sort of a Catholic cult of the virgin around her. But what was actually going on was she had a million boyfriends. So when she was like 13 or 14 years old, her stepfather was molesting her, and it was
That's
horrible. The servants were reporting this in this investigation that happens later, that he was going into her bedroom in his nightshirt and tickling her and slapping her on the buttocks. And then she would wake up early and surround herself with maids and servants to try and prevent this from happening. This is what the servants are reporting. Then after his wife dies, he tries to marry her because he's this 14-year-old girl who he's been molesting. He's like, well, if I can marry her, then I'll have a claim to the throne. And so he's pressuring her as like a, underage, no one's speaking up for her to marry her. So that's her beginning experience with men. Then he gets executed like the next year. So think about her love life. It's just crazy, starting from childhood. And then the next major love of her life is this guy, Robert Dudley, who I think of as almost sort of like they're kind of like Blair and Chuck from Gossip Girl. He's sort of this bad boy. The reason that she's loyal to him and that she loves him is actually he's there for her when she's nobody. Because what people don't realize about Queen Elizabeth is no one thought that she was going to be the queen. She was third in line for the throne. She had 2 siblings who were ahead of her. And so until she was 25 years old, and like illness kind of quickly killed her 2 older siblings, no one paid attention to her. They just thought of her as sort of a nuisance. They thought of her as a threat to be managed, but no one thought she was going to end up on top. And so her older sister, Bloody Mary, who's incredibly jealous of her, basically puts her in prison. While Bloody Mary, famously, after the cocktail. And then while she's in prison, basically, is when she connects with this Chuck Bass kind of guy who is also down on his luck in this administration. And so they become lovers. And so he becomes her lover and her kind of long-term boyfriend, even as she's dating other courtiers and other foreign diplomats. But the problem is he kind of betrayed her a lot. And so he would kind of run a mafia style thing where he would have people pay him off in order to get access to her. And he was always trying to figure out, can I marry a Spanish princess and just like lock it down that way? He was just a social climber. So anyway.
Wow. So her 2 siblings died and then she became the queen.
And it was a total random fluke thing and no one expected it.
You're so smart. And you clearly are very well read. How many hours a week do you read?
Thank you. I am very well knowledge in a very, very, very narrow subject, which I find really interesting. And so I just get a lot of information about that. And I actually feel like I'm very not broadly well read. Honestly, this is me being really honest. When I'm really trying to be like, Phoebe, read more, I'm going to just be like, if I can read a book for an hour a day, that feels really good. And then there's things where it's like, it feels great. If I'm reading an hour a day, I feel like a superstar. And then I'll have tabs open on my computer that are like longer things that I can play in and out of. And then that's like a little bit more of like a constant flowy thing. But if I can sit and read a book for an hour, I'm giving myself like a huge pat on the back.
Do you read paper or digital? Are you a Kindle or are you a paper book?
I'm much better with paper.
I am too.
But a lot of Elizabethan sources and stuff you can only get digitally, like all these older books.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because they're older books.
They don't.
We met each other in Cabo, and I was like, "Oh, you have to be on the show because she's so great."
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be here with you guys.
This is so fun. So then we were thinking about what the topic could be. We were talking about the Queen Elizabeth and how she was so into anti-aging and kind of like
so interesting. This has been such a refreshing conversation.
Yeah.
It's been so great speaking with you.
And we're really like happy for you with what she's doing. She's trying to promote her documentary,
which is incredible. I can't wait to watch it when it comes out.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah, if people want to see what we're doing, I'm on YouTube at Phoebe _Devere, Devere. You can see the trailer for the movie, some of the other work that I've done with my collaborator Lens, and learn more about Elizabethan Renaissance and Shakespeare.
So we're going to put all that we'll put that in everything in the show notes so everybody can read.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. Talking YouTube, same handle.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you for
Have a great rest of the day. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. If this conversation about aging, power, and staying visible resonates with you, stay with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. Coming up next, we're talking about another topic where women often feel powerless: divorce. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Today we have divorce lawyer Denise joining us, and we're super excited. Vita, are you excited?
I can't wait.
I'm
so
to have this
excited.
Conversation. She has almost 1 million followers on Instagram, and she's been a divorce lawyer in South Florida for 46 years.
Yes, and it's on Instagram. It's on all social media, not just one.
Okay, great. So you started 46 years ago,
Yes.
and you've pretty much seen pretty much everything, I'm sure.
I haven't seen
No?
everything because the slights and the pain, it's different versions, but it's all new. And the pain never goes away.
What do you think is the most common cause that you've seen for divorce?
It's not adultery. You would
Really?
think it was
I
adultery.
would have guessed
It's
infidelity.
not
last night.
adultery. There's end of the divorce adultery because the husband, usually it's the husband, cannot bear to tell his wife he wants a divorce. So he lets her discover it. You know,
Right.
the invoices from the hotels or the texts or the talking on the telephone, and all of a sudden he's in the other room talking on the telephone all the time. So it's not adultery. It's that people have just didn't put the marriage first. You're supposed to set up a new nuclear family, and they just couldn't get rid of the old family or put them in set boundaries, or they just didn't gel. So that's what I think causes the divorce, as well as, there's all the other causes. The addictions. I think the addictions are bigger than adultery.
What about money?
Finances?
Is money a big one?
I want you to know that I don't think money. I used to do bankruptcies. I couldn't imagine why these people stayed with the person who had the gambling addiction.
Yeah.
Who had the HSN addiction, where all she did was like spend all day buying shoes, I couldn't imagine, but they stay. And I don't think it's money. Although people do get married for money.
And they argue about money.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I feel like money is like a big trigger point.
So they're not actually getting divorced because of finances. What about hoarding?
Hoarding?
Do you see people getting divorced because one person's a hoarder and the other one isn't?
I want you to know that mental illness is something that people try to work around.
Okay.
Until they've had it. And the hoarding is something that someone can like walk around, for a while. But like bipolar, it's tough. Just not being able to deal with a horrendous toxic personality, somebody who puts you down. Here we are. Sorry to talk about this, but the narcissistic personality where you don't exist except to say yes to whatever the person, whoever it is. It could be the husband, it could be the wife, But the narcissism just gets to a point where the person cannot take it anymore. And it takes years. It doesn't happen right away. I don't know what the point is where they just cannot take it anymore.
So there is a breaking point, though, for these people.
Oh, there is. There is.
Do you think a lot of it happens in empty nesting? Like the kids move out and now you're stuck at home with this person?
That's very insightful. Because there's the gray divorce now. Gray divorce is people who are older are getting married. Twice as many are getting divorced as before. And is it the empty nest syndrome? I think part of it is. Part of it is, and it's it's someone getting older. So they have to like go to the gym. Get hair transplants. Just get a really fancy car, to like make themselves feel young again, because they're just feel like they're losing
And
it.
you have this moment, I mean, not having anything to do with my marriage, but in general, right? Like I had this moment where I'm like, okay, what? I have like 45 good years left, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and of those, like the last 10, how great are they going to be, right? So you start thinking like, I better seize the day. So if you're unhappy in your marriage, you probably jump on that, right?
What's the oldest person that you've had, or oldest couple that have gotten divorced?
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. In their 80s and 90s.
Stop.
No way.
Like why?
Let me give you. Okay. So what happened is that the daughter kidnapped the mother from the father. And then the mother like wasn't really with it. And it took that's like one scenario. You have to like worry. Usually it's not the children, it's the second wife. Okay? It's the second wife who doesn't want to get divorced, but the children come in, they take the parent because they say that the second wife isn't taking good care of them.
Okay.
And then they file for divorce.
So the kids had power of attorney.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so the kids can have power of attorney and then file for divorce
Yes,
for their
they don't
parent.
get power of attorney. They just take the parent and they file. And then in Florida and in other states, you have, if someone is incompetent, you have between 3 and 5 years for them to be able to get a divorce. Unless you do all these other things, it's just crazy.
So what's the oldest couple that kids weren't involved? Just the actual couple themselves.
80s.
80s.
They
Getting
just
divorced in
couldn't
your
deal
80s.
anymore.
They divorced in the 80s. They didn't want to live together anymore. She didn't want to take care of him, and so they got a divorce.
So they couldn't just live separate.
Yes, he went to his kids, she went to her kids.
Wow. That's crazy. And the one topic we were talking about off camera, which we both love to discuss, prenups and postnups.
Oh my God. Prenups are the biggest thing. Postnups are also when someone who signed a prenup realizes they are getting nothing. I used to have these young girls who were marrying into family businesses, and now I won't even take them. Somebody talks to them on the telephone, I figure out what's going on, and I will not take someone unless I have the ability to negotiate, unless I've spoken to them. And what I do is I tell them, what's it going to be like to be 50 years old? Your children are grown, you've given up everything, you didn't work because you gave up your career, and now you're 50 years old, and there you are. What are you going to do? Live under a bridge? Get a tin cup and ask your children, who are getting all the money and getting everything, to beg them for money to live on?
So you're telling the girls don't sign the prenups?
I'm telling them to let me negotiate.
Oh, okay.
Because I can negotiate, so there's going to be financial fairness.
Right.
Because okay, they say, oh, you're a gold digger. What gold digger? You don't want to be 50 years old, not have a car, not have a house, not have a 401k, not have a pension. No, you need to have financial security so that you don't have to beg your children to take care of you because your husband cut you out to begin with.
So you're okay with a prenup as long as it's fair.
I am going to tell you a secret. Okay, this is a secret. Okay, there isn't a state on this planet that doesn't have divorce laws. And the divorce laws mean you have a prenup. When you get a written prenup, you're changing it and you're thinking about what's fair. But you have a prenup. Florida, New York, California, Missouri, they all have prenups. It's just that you don't know what is going to happen when you get divorced. It's crazy that people say, oh, I don't want a prenup. Well, they have it already when they get married.
Now, aren't there, I know at least with like child support, for instance, like at a certain income level, you're out of the formulas. Is that the same with divorce if children aren't involved?
It depends on the state.
Okay.
So that if somebody is earning like this much, okay, and child support goes to here, and there's this much, what you do is you make agreements that, this much is going to go into a separate trust for the child, so there's money for college. Not every state says that the parents have to pay for college and graduate school and medical school. You know, it depends what's going to happen with your children. So you need to have, you need to plan the extra money, because the person with the money doesn't want to pay, you know, what is Kim Kardashian getting a month? She's getting, what, $200,000 a month in child support?
Oh, from Kanye.
From Kanye?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, who knew?
He is paying the most of any person I know, or any a celebrity that I've read, in child support. And he was happy. And I don't know what it is that they had to settle. I think it was access to the children, actually, and the money he just really didn't care about. But, you know, child support, when it's in the upper echelon, you have to prepare the children, and you have to have trust so that the children don't get the money right away.
Right.
Yeah.
So that they're not, you know, going to spend it buying crazy things. So it's really important to plan. And hopefully, I want you to know that of divorces, of the 100% of divorces, people are crazy for, I would say 90% of people are crazy for 90 days. The first 3 months, whoa, okay? But after that, they become reasonable. And then there's the 10%. There's nothing you could do with the 10%. I was on a networking group, and there was this lawyer there. Her I will remember forever. She couldn't agree that there were 12 eggs in a egg carton. It was there are crazy people, and they find crazy lawyers.
Right.
And that is, and you know, people who are going through a divorce are they're obsessed with anxiety.
Yeah.
Even if they know what the outcome is going to be, it makes you crazy. So crazy. And so there are some people who want to buy themselves the divorce. They just say, all right, it's unreasonable, I'll give it to you, goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's mostly what happens. You most of the time settle before court.
There is mediation. Mediation is the most wonderful thing that has ever come along. I've practiced for 46 years. We used to not have mediation. Now we have mediation. So you have a neutral person who sits there and helps everybody come to a settlement. And 95% of everybody settles their cases. It's that little percentage that don't settle. It's the revenge and narcissism. Oh, you want to divorce me? Oh my God, I'm so perfect. How could you do that? Anything you want, I'm gonna not do.
So back to prenups. I have a question about that. So I heard that after a certain amount of time, sometimes prenups are void. Is that true?
In the prenup, there can be a sunset provision.
Okay.
And the sunset provision can say after X amount of years, it's void.
But that is not standard.
It is not standard at all.
Well, this has been great.
Yes.
We love having you on the show.
This was so
You're
fun.
amazing. I can't believe that you're 75.
Either can I. Either can I. It's like kind of thinking about it. I didn't think about it last year, but I'm thinking about it this year. But marriage and divorce is like life. You know, there's different stages, and you want to there are things that you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you want to take control of your life, and you want to know what's going on financially and emotionally in your marriage and in relationships. This is not just marriage. It's also partnerships, because there's so many people who are not married and living together.
Yeah.
And they also, you know, it's not like Kurt Russell and
Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, Goldie Hawn.
right. I mean, she had her own,
Yeah.
he had his own, and they've been together forever. But I get so many followers who say, I've lived for 16 years, I've lived together for 34 years. What's going to happen to me? You know? Nothing. You get nothing. Nothing.
It's sad,
It is sad.
but at least you're there to help
Yeah.
them.
Which is great.
Either way,
Yeah.
either way, I can write a contract, or we can do prenups or postnups.
This has been great. So we'll put all of your information in the show notes so everybody can find you
Yes,
on your different social media platforms.
yes. And it's a pleasure to meet you both.
Thank you
It was
so
lovely
much.
meeting
Thank
you. Thank you.
If this made you think twice, good. That's the point. Share this with someone who needs it. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now it's time for our favorite part of the show, Spill It. Veida, are you ready?
I am ready. Can't wait.
I just got engaged. I want a big, beautiful wedding. My fiance had one in his first marriage and now says he only wants courthouse vibes. I feel cheated. What do I do?
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
Get over it.
Who cares?
Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you're lucky he's getting married a second time.
And
Honestly.
if you really love him, you're not going to care where you get married. Like if I got married again,
Yeah.
I'm totally in love with the person that I'm marrying. If we get married in the courthouse, on
Who
the beach,
cares? It's
it
not
doesn't really
about
matter.
You can throw a party later. Have like a vow recommitment or an anniversary party or
Well, no,
something.
the vow, the renewing your vows is like the kiss of death.
Oh, okay. Don't renew your vows.
I renewed
But
my
then-
vows, and that was like
Okay,
a
so
bad
don't do
idea.
that. But have like an anniversary party if you want a big party and wear a white dress. No, this is ridiculous. You should be grateful that you have a nice man that wants to marry you and get married again.
Especially after he was already married
Yeah.
once.
So no,
No, we think that you're being
you're kind of being a brat,
a brat.
huge brat. Courthouse it is. And a courthouse wedding can be so chic.
Or go to Vegas. Go on
Yeah,
a little
a courthouse is so chic. Like Carrie Bradshaw with like the suit. Courthouse it is. Don't be a me monster.
We think you're being bratty.
A bratty child. You are. I mean, that's childish.
You're
Really.
ungrateful.
She's totally ungrateful. This is like totally one of these like babyish things.
Yes.
Like no grown woman like in her 40s would feel this way because they've like been through the ringer and are just happy to get married.
100%.
You know, like this is a brat and I hate her. I do. She's like literally everything I can't stand in women. Sorry. But it's the truth.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry she doesn't like you.
No, I don't like her attitude. I think she's ungrateful and a big baby and she needs to be nicer to her fiance.
Yeah, she does. She needs to grow up.
Yeah.
Today was about staying powerful, visible, and in control of your next chapter. From Queen Elizabeth to modern divorce, we talked about how small choices shape your future. If this episode resonated, like it, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. I'm Sandra Silverman, and this is Party's Over. See you next time.